Welcome back, my friends, to Layer by Layer Go, the podcast where we simmer good songs, stir up great food, and season the whole thing with some intentional living. I'm your host, Don, songwriter, cook, life planner, and your chill companion as we dig deeper into the things that make life good. Now, if you're just tuning in for the first time, first off, welcome. This show is all about taking life one layer at a time. No pressure to be perfect, no fast-forward button needed, just music, meals, and moments that bring meaning, and maybe a smile to your day. Today's episode is called No Worries, Just Stew. I know, it kind of sounds like something your grandma might cross-stitch and hang in the kitchen, but stick with me here. This one's got heart, rhythm, and just enough spice to hit the spot. We're going to peel back 3 hearty layers today. First up, we'll vibe with the classic reggae anthem, 3 Little Birds by Bob Marley. You've probably heard the chorus 100 times, don't worry about a thing, but have you ever really sat with those lyrics? This tune isn't just catchy, it's practically therapy wrapped in a melody. We'll look at what makes it so universally reassuring and why those 3 little birds might be smarter than half the wellness gurus on social media. Then, we're heading to the kitchen for a bowl of the good stuff, Brunswick Stew. Now, this is one of those soul-hugging recipes that tastes like a rainy Sunday afternoon or your favorite worn-in flannel. You don't have to be from the South to love it. But if you are, well, you already know the dish carries a little hometown pride with every spoonful. I grew up in the South, and it was something I really enjoyed in my early years. I'll walk you through a simplified version that you can make without a ton of fuss, but still get all the comfort. Finally, we'll wrap up with a takeaway that might just shift how you handle worry and stress. Not from a therapist's couch, but right from your kitchen table. You'll learn a little mantra I use to quiet the noise when life starts buzzing too loud. It's part mindset, part muscle memory, and I think you're going to find it useful the next time your brain goes into overthink mode. So go ahead, settle in, take a deep breath. You're right where you need to be. If you're driving, keep your eyes on the road. If you're cooking, grab a wooden spoon and stir with style. And if you're just laying back with your earbuds and a cup of tea in hand, perfect. This is your moment. This is your space. Let's go layer by layer. Our song spotlight today is 3 Little Birds by Bob Marley. Let's start with the music. If you've ever needed a song to pull you out of a funk, 3 Little Birds is probably already on your playlist. Or it should be. Released in 1980 on the album Exodus, this tune has grown from a laid-back reggae jam into a global anthem for peace of mind. It's short, it's simple, and it sticks with you like the smell of sunshine after rain. It's not just a song, it's a vibe. The rhythm is gentle, easy, that classic reggae lilt that makes your shoulders drop an inch just by hearing the first few bars, and then the words come in. Not complicated, not clever for the sake of cleverness, just clear human truth. Don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is going to be all right. You could stop the song right there and still feel lighter. And that's part of the magic. Marley wasn't trying to impress you with metaphors. He wasn't showing off vocal acrobatics or musical complexity. He was offering something simple, something pure, that speaks directly to that knot we all carry on our chests from time to time. It's said that Bob Marley wrote this after seeing actual birds, red-billed streamer-tails maybe, landing on his windowsill in Kingston. Whether that story's folklore or fact, I love the visual. These tiny creatures just going about their day, singing for no one in particular. No to-do list, no social media, just doing what birds do. And that's the metaphor. Life carries on. Nature doesn't panic. Worry is a human invention. Now let's go deeper. If you listen to Marley's work, this theme of spiritual reassurance shows up a lot. But Three Little Birds does it without leaning on anything heavy. No complex theology, no political backdrop, just birds, a window, a morning. In a world full of messages shouting at us to hustle harder, achieve more, stay ahead, this song feels like it's telling you, you know what? You're okay. You're breathing. You made it to this moment. That's enough. Now, that's not the same thing as laziness or ignoring problems. Bob Marley wasn't promoting denial. He lived through poverty, political unrest, and illness. He knew struggle. But he also knew the power of rhythm and of trusting the flow. Faith in the process, not because everything is always great, but because stressing about it doesn't fix anything. So when we say don't worry, we're not saying ignore the issues. We're saying stop letting fear do the driving. Put your hands back on the wheel and ease into the curve. Let's talk about what the song does to us. Next time you hear Three Little Birds, notice your body. That little smile tugging at the corner of your mouth, that breath that goes just a little deeper, that's what a great song does. It brings you back to the now. Music is the fastest route to a state of change. You can't think your way out of stress most of the time, but sing your way out, move your body, clap along, totally possible. And with Marley's tune, the cure is baked right into the beat. Just pressing play on this song is like opening the curtains in a stuffy room. It lets the air in. It doesn't demand much, just a listen, a hum, maybe even a little sway in your seat. Why we chose this song for today's episode. Today's theme is letting go of worry. That tension keeps you up at night, that background noise when you're trying to be present, that clutter in your brain that whispers worst case scenarios when you're just trying to cook dinner. This song reminds us that we do have the ability to shift, to choose our reaction. And sometimes that shift starts with a little tune and three little birds landing on a windowsill of the mind. So as we move into the next segment, our recipe for Brunswick Stew, let this song be the apron you put on, the warm-up, the breath before the boil. Because today's dish, just like the song, is all about comfort, about slowing down, about coming home to your senses. Let the lyric echo a little longer. Even if you heard this song 100 times, play it again today. Listen with new ears. Maybe while you're prepping ingredients or journaling or just staring out the window with a cup of coffee in hand. You don't have to solve everything today. Just sing along. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing gonna be all right. Here's a true story. I lived in the Caribbean for a few years back in the 80s, making a living as a songwriter and a musician. And let me tell you, that time shaped me. I was surrounded by palm trees, trade winds, and the sound of waves, but the real rhythm of that chapter came from the music. Jamaican reggae was in the air. Bob Marley, Jimmy Cliff, Third World, oh gosh, those Steel Pulse, all spinning out messages of peace, power, and resilience. Three Little Birds was more than just a great tune to me. It became part of my set list. I actually played it 5 nights a week at various gigs I was working at. The crowd knew every word. I knew every chord. And even though I must have sung it 1,000 times, the message never got old. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing gonna be all right. That's not just a lyric, it's a mindset. And if it could calm a crowd on a humid island night, it can definitely cut through the noise of your everyday worries right here, right now. Okay, now let's get cozy. Today we're cooking up Brunswick Stew, a southern staple that has got as many origin stories as it does ingredients. Some folks say it came from Brunswick County, Virginia. Others swear it's Brunswick, Georgia. But honestly, once you taste it, you won't care where it came from. This dish was born out of resourcefulness, a way to take what you had on hand and turn it into something warm, hearty, and healing. Sound familiar? That's what this podcast is all about. So if you've got some leftover pulled pork, chicken, or brisket in your fridge, you're halfway there. Here's what you'll need. About 1.5 pounds of cooked pulled pork or chicken, or go wild and use both. 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 1 yellow onion diced, 2 cloves of garlic minced, 1 can, a 14-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, 1 cup of chicken broth, 1.5 cups of diced potatoes, 1 cup of frozen lima beans, 1 cup of frozen corn, or grab a ear of corn and cut it up. That should give you about a cup or so. 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, salt, pepper, and hot sauce to taste. Here's a pro tip. If you're the kind of cook who likes to prep ahead, dice the potatoes small so they cook evenly, and don't skip on the Worcestershire. It adds a layer of umami that ties everything together. Let's cook. Saute the base in a big old pot, something with a thick bottom. Heat up that olive oil on medium. Add your diced onion and cook until it turns translucent and sweet smelling, about 5 minutes. Stir in the garlic and give it another minute. You're laying down the flavor now. You're going to smell this in the room immediately. Layer in the sole. Add in the pulled pork or chicken. Let it soak up the aromatic goodness for a minute or two. Then in go the tomatoes, broth, diced potatoes, Worcestershire. Stir it all together. This is where it all starts to feel like a proper stew. Simmer it down. Bring the whole thing to a boil, then reduce the heat and let it simmer uncovered for about 20 minutes. You might want to give it a little stir from time to time, but cook it until those potatoes are fork tender and your kitchen smells like Southern comfort. Not the liquor, but you know what I mean.
Are you 100% sure about that?
Veggie time. Now toss in the lima beans, corn, and brown sugar. Stir, taste, and season with salt, pepper, as much hot sauce as you dare. Low and slow finish. Let the whole pot gently simmer for another 15 to 20 minutes. The broth will thicken, the flavors will deepen, and you'll start questioning whether you really need takeout. Serve it up with a hunk of cornbread or crusty sourdough, a drizzle of hot sauce if you're brave, a tall glass of sweet tea or iced lemonade, maybe a napkin tucked into your collar, no shame. Final thoughts. This stew is forgiving, just like the message of today's episode. Don't stress the ingredients, don't chase perfection. If all you've got is some leftover rotisserie chicken and frozen peas, roll with it. Let the flavors come together layer by layer, and let that be a little reminder for life, too. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to start stirring. Now for the third layer, the takeaway. There's a line in Three Little Birds that we don't talk enough about. Rise up this morning, smiled with the rising sun. That's the cue right there. Gratitude in the moment. Awareness of what's right now. Not the mortgage due next week, or the project deadline, or the fight you had with a loved one. Just the sun, the morning, the birds singing. We spend so much time predicting disaster. Stress is the brain rehearsing failure. But Marley flips the script. What if we started each day rehearsing peace? Here's your challenge for the week. Start your day with one deep breath. Smile with the rising sun, even if it's behind clouds. Look for 3 little birds each day to be thankful for. That's your birds. Now, I get it. Trusting the process sounds good until you're stuck in traffic. The dog just puked on the rug and your coffee's cold. That's when it's easy to forget the birds and start channeling your inner chicken. But hey, you know what they say? Worry is like seasoning stew with tears. It doesn't make it taste better, just saltier. Okay, maybe they don't say that, but I do. So let's keep it light. Stir the pot. Don't boil over. Even if today's stew feels like it's burning, scrape the bottom real quick. Lower the heat and laugh a little. You're still cooking. Trust the process. Don't worry. And remember, Every little thing gonna be all right. Here's a journaling prompt for you. Don't worry, just write. Okay, now let's make it personal. This show isn't just about good music, good food, and good vibes. It's about doing something with them. So this week, I'm giving you a journaling prompt that might just spark your next lyric, idea, or breakthrough moment. You've heard the phrase, don't worry about a thing. Every little thing gonna be all right. Sounds simple, right? But when you really sit with it, when you stop scrolling, stop stressing, and just breathe, those words can be a launch pad. So grab your journal, notepad, or even a napkin if that's all you've got, because today we write. Step 1. Set the scene. You don't need incense and ocean waves, just a quiet moment. If you're a songwriter, this is gold. If you're not, it's still the kind of soul sift that gets the clutter out of your head. So pour a cup of coffee or tea and give yourself a solid 10 to 15 minutes to go layer by layer with your own thoughts. We're going to do some free writing. Title your page up on top, Don't Worry. Or if that feels too broad, go more specific. Like the thing I'm stressing about most right now. Or what if it did work out? Step 2. Choose a prompt. Or 3. Pick one or mix and match. 1. Write about a time something turned out okay, even when you thought it wouldn't. What happened? How did it resolve? What did you learn from it? 2. List 3 little things that made you smile this week. A smell, a sound, a bird, a good bite of stew. These are your 3 little birds. 3. What would it feel like to release control just for today? Describe it. Give it a color, a texture, a sound. 4. Write a short lyric or poem that starts with, I almost worried, but... ... Fill in the blank. Number 5. Flip it. Think of one thing you've been stressed about. Now write a version where it actually works out beautifully. Let your imagination run with it. Okay, step 3. Get gritty. Songwriters, here's your moment. Take one of the thoughts or lines that came out of your journal and turn it into a hook. Don't overthink it, just play. It's like she left with the rain, but the sun stayed with me. Or I burned the stew, but found the recipe for grace. Or I didn't worry and nothing caught fire. Remember, the point is not to be clever, it's to be honest. Because when you put honest on the page, it resonates. And if you're not a songwriter, that's okay. Just notice how writing shifts your energy. That alone is worth the page. Now listen, if you're sitting there journaling and your stew starts burning, I give you full permission to worry. Nobody likes crunchy lima beans. But really, this isn't about ignoring life's problems. It's about reclaiming your power to respond rather than react. Worry says, I'm powerless. Journaling says, I've got something to say about this. If you need one last spark, here are starter themes you can slap on top of any blank page. What I would tell my younger self. What I'm carrying that isn't mine. If my life were a song right now, what I can let simmer instead of control. If you need one last spark, here are starter themes you can slap on top of any blank page. What I would tell my younger self. What I'm carrying that isn't mine. If my life were a song right now. What I can let simmer instead of control. Everything is falling apart versus everything falling into place. Seriously, one of these could be the start of your next song, book, or shift in thinking. And then what? When you're done journaling, take a moment to sit with it. Reread a sentence that surprised you. Circle a phrase that felt true. Or better yet, share it. If something resonated and you're brave enough, post a snippet online. tag at Layer by Layer Go, or even send it using the contact form on layerbylayergo.com. Or you could email to submit@layerbylayergo.com. I'd love to hear what you came up with. You never know who it might inspire, because the world needs more honest words and fewer anxious ones. And hey, if all you do is write one line today, that's already enough. Like the stew, it's not about how fast, it's about how full of heart. So don't worry, just write. If today's episode stirred something up, don't let it fade with the outro music. Put it into practice. Visit layerbylayergo.com to grab this week's journaling prompts. You'll find a short set of questions to help you unpack your stress triggers, spot the birds in your life, and create your own recipe for peace. And while you're there, check out our tools page. I've linked up my go-to kitchen gear, including the bread knife I mentioned in the last episode. Yes, it's sharp. No, I haven't lost a finger yet. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone who needs a break from worry. Maybe a friend who's been stuck in their own mental stew pot. We're building this podcast layer by layer, and your support means everything. And hey, follow the show wherever you listen so you don't miss next week's episode. It's called Let It Go. The song we use is a serious classic, one of the best ever written, and how a famous songwriter spilled a life story into his most epic ballad. And that's a wrap for this episode of Layer by Layer Go. We listened to Marley, stirred up some Southern comfort, and reminded ourselves that peace doesn't come from fixing everything. It comes from trusting the process. If today gave you something to think about, leave a review. Share it with a friend or just let it settle in. There's no rush. Life's a long stew, not a microwave meal. You can always find more at layerbylayergo.com, where we keep the pot simmering with journaling prompts, recipes, planning tools, and all the little extras that help life taste better. Until next time, keep it simple, keep it kind, and keep stirring.